You're the God of this city. You're the King of this people. You're the Lord of this nation. You are. You're the light in this darkness. You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are.
Welcome to Exegetical Tools.com Greek review videos. In this session, we're going to look at the present tense participle, which is covered further in Mounts chapter 27. You can look there for more detail. This is going to be a brief reintroduction to the present tense participle to get you back on track. This handout is free and available to you online for download. Simply go to our website and go to All Handouts under Language Review. We'll begin by talking about the present active participle, and then we'll also talk about the middle passive participle, both in the present tense. All participles have a tense stem, a connecting vowel, a participle morpheme, and case endings. So here you can see both the verbal element with the tense stem and the connecting vowel, and you can also see the nominal, or the noun, or the adjective element, the adjectival element with the case endings, because you would usually apply the case endings to a noun or an adjective. And then you have the participle morpheme, which simply tells you it's a participle. Now, with the present tense, let's talk about the present tense stem. This is derived from the verbal root. So, for example, the root for luo is lu, and we're fortunate because that happens to be the same as the present tense stem for luo, which is lu. Luo is a very normal verb, regular verb, and that's why it's used so much. Now, the present tense stem differs from the root more than the other tense stems. But, since the present tense is used for the lexical form, it's easily recognized in context. So, for example, beta alpha lambda, bal, is the root for balo. I throw or I cast. But it has the present tense stem, beta alpha lambda lambda. So, since you memorize balo, when you see a present tense stem like ball, and then with the rest of this stuff connected, you're going to be able to recognize that present tense stem, even though it's different from the root. You'll be able to recognize the present tense stem because it simply comes from the lexical form, which is in the present tense. And you'll see this actually changes beta alpha lambda. It's used for the aorist and future tenses, and that's actually the same as the root. So the tense stem, the aorist tense stem, and the future tense stem is the same as the root for balo, and those are regular, and Mounts suggest you actually consider the present tense stem as irregular whenever it's different. So the participle morpheme is the easiest way to recognize a participle, this right here. These letters can appear in verbs and are not in verbs that are not participles, so it doesn't always mean it's a participle if you see these letters occurring within a verb-looking word. But a great majority of the time it will be a participle. That new tau is a very big giveaway in the USA. Not every time will it be a participle, but usually it will be. Present active participles follow a 3-1-3 pattern for declensions, which is the same as the pos paradigm. So see the third declension noun handout and video if you don't remember that. But we encourage you there to memorize the pos paradigm. That's because pos upon is the third declension, first declension, third declension pattern, just as the present active participle is here. And so now you can see down here, we'll show you the paradigm for the present active with the verb luo. And so you can see here that we've got the paradigm, and it's 3-1-3, so third declension, first declension, third declension, like we said, just like pos upon. And so if you memorize that chart, you shouldn't have any problem here. Now there are a few anomalies in here that we actually didn't mention, and to explain them briefly, for right here you've got luon, and so there's actually no sigma supplied for the case ending, and so you have something like luont, and then the tau doesn't like to stand on the end, so you get luon, which would be like this, and then in the masculine the omicron lengthens to an omega, leaving you with luon. And then with the neuter the same thing happens, but that omicron does not lengthen. So you would get something, to give you something visual, you get something like from luont, and then the tau does not like to hang out on the end, so it drops, and then here the omega the omicron lengthens to an omega, whereas in the neuter it just stays luon. So that's what happens there. And then down here with luusi, right here, this is actually different as well, because you get something like luonsi. Oh, so let's get in Greek. You get something like luonsi, and with this, the new tau does not like to stand right before the sigma, so it actually drops, and then the omicron lengthens to it adds the upsilon, so you get luusi, and then you have the movable nu on the end, which could be there or might not be. And this is actually the same as the third person plural indicative luusi, they loose. So try not to confuse these. You'll just have to figure that out from the context, which it is. And then here you've got the alpha shifting to the eta, if you can remember that. So now you've got the that's the present active, and remember, just memorize the pos paradigm and you'll have this down. It's not going to be too groundbreaking to be able to see these if you've got the pos paradigm memorized. As far as the middle passive participle, it's very similar, but now you've got mena or mene for the participle morpheme, and you've got case endings, and now the case endings are actually going to be 212 instead of 313, and the participle morpheme actually has that it actually has the vowel added to the end, the omicron and the eta here. Up here with the active, there is no vowel in the end for nu tau, and so the case endings for third declension, because with third declension, if you remember, they're nouns that end with a consonant, so then the case endings actually have vowels on the beginning in most cases. Here the participle morpheme must end in a vowel, and then you add the case endings. So second declension, something like ha lagos, and so you got sigma for the nominative, and then lagu, the omicron upsilon. So down here, review the first and second declension noun handout and video for more information on these declensions if you can't remember the second or the first declensions. And like it says here, the case endings are the true endings. So similar here to lagos, lagu, lago, lagon, lagoi, lagon, lagois, lagus, and then here it's just a normal first declension. And this men is going to be a dead giveaway that's going to be a middle or passive participle. It's going to be in both. It's going to be either mena or it'll be mene. And down here that it changes to the alpha because of this alpha iota case ending. So just look at these, and you really don't have to be able to produce this. You just have to be able to recognize it. And over here you got the nu tau, which is usually a very big giveaway that's a present active or just an active participle. And right here you've got the us. The us is a pretty big giveaway as well. Usa and use. All these, be looking for these, the participle morphemes, to help you recognize those. Now also the present active participle for ami, it looks like the active participle morpheme with case endings in a 313 pattern. So just like the present active here, basically just drop the lu. For example, drop that and you're left with ontas. Drop the lu and you're left with on. Lu onti, lu onta, lu ontes, onton, usi, just like lu usi, and then ontas. So basically, if you can recognize this, you should be able to recognize the ami present active participle as well. This is all coming from the pos paradigm. You just got to memorize that. So this is the present tense participle, and we hope this was helpful. Tune in for further videos on the other tenses for the other participles, and feel free to download this handout from the website as well as watch the exegetical videos to see this put into practice. Thanks for watching.